Okay, since some students asked me to make a videos about the trigonometric, not trigonometric, but some students asked me to make a videos about the trigonometric 2, about the graph. Okay, so so these videos are going to make about the trigonometric 2, the graph. Okay, this one is more on the modern max, it's not on mx, because the graph part is for mx, you can go until much more deeper. Of course, in this video, even this video is for modern max, but then I will involve a little bit the mx one into the videos, because sometimes, because I go through a lot of past year question or questions in the modern max, so I find out actually sometimes they do involve a little bit information about the mx one. So I going to involve in this video. I just want to make sure after this video you can solve almost all the graph problem for trigonometrics. And then besides that these videos means the past year questions so far for trigonometric 2, they only come out in paper 1, so it's a MCQ question, which is the multiple choice question, which you can choose from the ABCD. So I'm going to take few past year question in this video also. Okay, so let's start from now. Okay, first you must understand three graphs over here. One is the sine graph, cos graph, and tangent graph. I would say sine graph and cos graph will be more important compared to the tangent graph. Okay, so let's start about sine first. Okay, the graph we call y equal to sine. Let's say we call y equal to sine angle, or you can call sine x, it doesn't matter. Okay, let's call it angle. Okay, now I start to draw the graph. Okay, if y equal to sine x and y equal to sine angle is the same, if sine x, the x-axis over here will be x. If sine angle, this one will be angle. Okay, so here will be y. Okay, got few things you must be very careful about sine graph. Okay, first is the amplitudes. For sine graph, the maximum value, remember this one, maximum value is 1. A minimum value is -1. This one you must remember. Okay, this one for y equal to sine angle means, or sine x. Okay, for the sine graph, maximum value is 1 and minimum value is -1. If you do not believe, you try and take your calculator, and then maybe you try to press something like shift sine 1.1, you got max error. See, mean you cannot, for sine graph and cos graph also same, but then now we say about sine graph, you cannot get the value more than 1 or less than -1. So these two, the height of the graph we call it amplitudes. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now, okay, the sine graph will have something like, okay, start like a mountain, and then he will go down and then off like this. Okay, so he will have something like mountain, or maybe you imagine this is the shadow of the mountain, or some students say this is something like S, but the S actually is slip already or something lah. You can imagine out by yourself. Okay, let me draw nicer a bit. This graph is a bit run off the. Okay, let me draw the sine graph nice a bit. Okay, this is angle, and then this one will be the y. Okay, and then I say the maximum will be 1 and the minimum will be -1. Okay, this is y equal to sine angle. Okay, beside 1 and -1 is very important information. Another information is very important, which is the angle. Okay, remember for sine graph, one period, or they call it one cycle, from start to the end, the total angle over here should be 360. Okay, the total length of one cycle should be 360. So what I want you to do is, I want you to divide 360 into 4 parts. So first is I divide 360 into the half. So I got here is 180. Okay, and then I divide this is 180 until 360 what? Divide this one into the half again is 270. And then this one from 0 to 180, divide it into half again is 90. Okay, these 4 angle, maybe you can say 5 angle from 0, 90, 180, 270 and 360 is very, very, very important. Okay, this 5 angle is very important. Okay, let me explain. The first one in the graph, for sine graph, sine equal to 0, when angle equal to 0, y must be equal to 0. When angle equal to 180, y must equal to 0. When angle equal to 360, y is equal to 0. Okay, these 3 points you must understand, fully understand. So I would say sine 0 angle will equal to 0, and then sine 180 angle will equal to 0, and then sine 360 angle will equal to 0 also. Okay, if you not believe, you just press your calculator, he will tell you the answer. You just press one by one, you got all will equal to 0. Okay, and then at size 90, over here you will got the maximum value, which is 1. Okay, for size 90 you will got the maximum value, which is 1. And then for size 270 you will got the minimum value, which is -1. For size 270 you will got the minimum value, which is -1. Okay, actually it's quite easy to remember. Is okay, 0, 180 and 360 in sine graph must be equal to 0, and then you will left 90 and 270 only, right? 90 is the maximum and 270 is the minimum. Okay, that's all. Because in the exam sometimes he will ask, what is the sine graph look like if from 0 to 180? Then you will got the graph will look like this. But then a lot of students will make a mistake. He will say the sine graph will still look like this. Will still look like an S like this. Because 0 to 180, then your sine graph is only look like this. Sometimes the exam will ask for this part. How about 90 to 270? Then you must be able to imagine the sine graph will look like this. Sometimes they will ask about 180 until 360. So you must know the sine graph is actually look like this. Because in 180 to 360, he will not have a small s over here. Okay, this one you must remember. Actually, exam come out, all is very simple. Just he won't straight away ask you to find the sine graph from 0 to 360. That is too easy for a lot of students. So sometimes they will trap you. They will ask you, if the angle given is from 0 to 180, what is your sine graph? Or sometimes they even change the value of the maximum and minimum. They change this one to 2 to -2. A lot of students see, the graph is look like this. They never check about this value, then they got it wrong also. Okay, so remember the sine graph carefully. I say 1 and -1 is very important. And then this 5 angle, remember it, just plus 90 only. 0 plus 90, 90 plus 90, 180 plus 90, 270 plus 90, until 360 enough. Okay, remember this one carefully. if you learn about first quadrant, second quadrant, actually from here you can learn it also. Okay, because why we say first quadrant and second quadrant sine will equal to positive. Still remember we learned something like this? All positive, sine positive, tangent positive and cos positive. First quadrant one, this is first quadrant 0 to 90, this one is 0 to 90, this one is 90 to 180, this one will be 180 to 270, this one will be 270 to 360. This one we call it fourth quadrant, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so in the first quadrant, sine is positive, correct or not? So you see, first quadrant, 0 to 90, sine is getting positive. In the second quadrant, 90 to 180, sine is still positive. Do you see? Sine is still positive. But then, 180 until 270, you see sine actually going to negative. You see the value over here, below 0 should be negative. So going negative. Even the fourth quadrant, sine is negative also. If you see the cos graph, can help you understand better about this one. So, can you remember about this one? Very simple. Don't let the exam trap you. No matter which area he cover, you must able to draw out this one by yourself. So, if you are watching this video, please take a A4 paper and draw it now. And then, yes, if you still can't draw the angle correctly, draw it again. If you still can't plot the value correctly, draw it again. Okay, draw until you're very familiar with the sine graph. Okay, then if okay already, then we go to the cos graph. Okay, for the cos, it's a little bit different. Okay, let me draw the cos graph. So, yep. Okay, this one should be the angle. Okay, this is y. Okay, now I draw y equal to cos angle. Okay, it will look like something like a U shape. U. Do you see a U over here? Okay? Okay, you can try to imagine anything you like. Okay? Okay, same thing. For this one, the maximum value over here is 1. And the minimum value over here is -1. If you press shift cos, you press any number more than 1 and less than -1, you got max arrow. Okay, sine and cos is the same. Maximum is 1, minimum is -1. Nothing special about this one. And then same thing, one cycle is 360. So same thing, I want you divide it into the 4 part. So you see one part over here, second part, third part and fourth part. So this one will be the first part, which is 90. Second part 180. Third part 270 is over here. And the fourth part is 360. Do you see? This 5 angle is very important. 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. Okay? Okay? If the exam you forget about how to draw cos graph, you actually you can use the quadrant to help you. All positive, sine positive, tangent positive, cos positive one. Mean in the first quadrant, this is first quadrant one. First quadrant, all must get positive, so of course cos is positive one. Positive, 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 until the second quadrant, sine positive only one, so cos is negative. Third quadrant, cos is still negative. But then until the fourth quadrant, cos start to get positive. See, after the third quadrant, you will go to positive. Okay, and then, yes, you see, just now for sine graph, we know sine 0, 180 and 360, we will got 0. Okay, now in cos graph. In cos graph, only cos 90 is equal to 0, and cos 270 is equal to 0. Okay, it's totally different with the sine graph. It's totally different with the sine graph. Because in the sine graph you got 0, it's 90, 180 and 360. But then in the cos graph, is these two, because in the sine graph only 90 and 270 you won't get 0 what. Only 90 and 270 you won't get 0 in sine graph, but then these two angles will get 0 in cos graph. Because cos graph, only these two angles will get 0. Okay? And then for sine graph you will have two values, you got 1, which is cos 0 is equal to 1. Because a lot of students will make this mistake. They will say cos 0 equal to 0. Remember this one. This is the maximum point. And one more 1 over here is when cos equal to 360. You got 1. This is another point for maximum. Okay, and then minimum will at 180. So we know cos 180 will give us -1. Okay, if you not believe this value, just press the calculator. Calculator will help you. Okay, this one very hard, very easy to memorize also. Okay, so no matter you plot sine graph or cos graph, just divide it in the fourth quadrant. First quadrant 0 to 90 what. Second quadrant 90 to 180 what. Third quadrant 180 to 270 what. Fourth quadrant will be 270 to 360. So you see, all of the graph actually I divide it into the one part, two parts, third part and fourth part. One part, second part, third part and fourth part. Okay, just divide them in the fourth part and then draw accordingly to the shape. So if you still can't memorize the cos graph, so take an A4 paper and draw it now. Okay, you just want to make sure the value beside here you label is correctly. All the angle you write here is correctly from 0 to 360. Okay, same thing for cos graph. Exam love to ask when 0 to 180, what is the graph will look like? If 90 to 270, what is the graph will look like? Or 180 to 360, what is the graph will look like? This one, the exam can cover any part of it. So you have to make sure you're very clear about the graph and the value. Which one will get 0? 90 and 270 will get 0. And then 0 and 360 will get 1. 180 will get -1. So all of this value you have to memorize. So let's say in the exam you really forget about this one. Take your calculator, press 1 by 1. Okay, for cos you just press cos 0 equal to 1 what? So you just plot 1 over here. And then you're not sure about cos 90, so you press cos 90 will equal to 0. Then you plot the 0 over here. And then you just press cos 180 will give you -1. Then you plot -1 over here. And then you press cos 270 will get you 0, then you plot the 0 over here. And the last one you press cos 360 will give you 1. So from the calculator you already plot the graph like this one. If you press the calculator, then just connect it, then you will get cos graph. So this is what I teach my student also. Means if in the exam you forget about the shape of the graph, no matter sine or cos, or not to say forget, sometimes you confuse. So what you need to do is, you press 1 by 1, you take out your calculator, and then if you want to plot sine graph, take out your calculator, you press sine 0 first, and then you press sine 90, and then you press sine 180, and then you press sine 270, and then you press sine 360. Means all you plus 90 only what? Very easy to remember. You make sure you plot all this value, then you can roughly get the shape what. So let's say size 0 is 0, size 90 is 1, size 180 is 0. It's not angle this value. Size 270 is -1, and size 360 is 0. So what you need to do is very simple. You roughly draw out this one. You see maximum is 1, minimum is -1. So at 1, -1. Okay? And then okay. Then I start to plot the graph. Sine 0, this is angle what? So sine 0 will be over here, 0. And then yeah, you have to write the angle also lah. And then this is 90, this is 180, this is 270, this is 360. Okay, then you can start to plot. Okay, so size 90 is 1, size 90 is 1, so I plot here. So size 180 is 0, 180 is 0. Size 270 is -1, 270 is here, is -1. And size 360 is 0, 0. Then of course, after you plot like this, you don't tell me you use your ruler to connect, or then I will definitely fan, okay? So just make sure you roughly got the idea. This is the S. Okay, don't use ruler to connect. Of course, draw nicer a bit lah. Okay, then you got the shape of the graph. Okay, same thing you can do to the cos. If you forget about the cos graph, just write like cos 0, cos 90, cos 180, cos 270, cos 360, and then press your calculator, find out all the value, and then draw out this graph, plot it. That's all. And then you got the idea. Okay, I will continue the sine. I will continue the tangent graph in the next video, and then the next video I will go a little bit deeper. Okay, of course, not in this video because yeah, I'm a bit run out of time. So I just quickly go through 3 questions I have prepared over here. Okay, two questions only because last question is about tangent graph. Okay, make sure you fully understand about this one. Then I move on to some past year question. Okay, let's have a look on the first one first. In this question, he asks, which of the following graph represents sine angle? Okay, sine angle. So first thing come into your mind for sine is, look like this one, sine. And then I say you must write 1 and -1. After that, you must divide it in 180 and 360, and then divide again 270 and 90. And then this one is right angle. Okay, you must quickly draw out this one because sine is very easy to remember. If you cannot press calculator like just now what I teach. Okay, now he says, okay, which one A, B, C, D? So this one actually looks similar. Got this one should be correct what? But then I double check. Here should be 180. Here he write over here is 90. Not 180, should be 180 what? So first one is wrong. Okay, then I check the second one. Second one, this one also look familiar. I also got this one. But this one is 180 to 360 what? It's 90 to 270. So it's wrong. Because this one should be 180 to 360. So it's wrong. And then C. I have a look on the C. C also look familiar. He from here what? Means he take out this part. So actually you have something like this. But what is the problem over here? It's the angle also. This one should from maximum is 90, minimum is 270. But then maximum over here is 180. So this one should be 90 and this one should be 270. So it's wrong. So until the last one, 90, 270, this one is correct. So the answer is D. Okay, so if you're not familiar with the graph, most of the students will like temper. This one looks so many A, B, C, D. A look more familiar, then they will circle A because A look more familiar. And then this B and C and D is on the middle, then they are not sure. They are not sure they will not choose C and D. And then they might choose A and B because A for them is more familiar. So most of the students will circle A. So don't do this in the exam. So make sure you fully understand about this graph because this 1 mark is very easy to get if you understand about this graph. Okay, now we'll go to the second part. Okay, in this graph, read carefully. He said which of the following represent the graph of the y equal to cos x for 0 to 180 only. Okay, let me draw the graph out for cos. So I draw it quickly. So cos will look like something like this. Okay, and then maximum is 1, minimum is -1. This is y, this is angle. Divide it into the half, 180, another one is 360. So here will be 270, this one will be 90. So normally I can draw the graph very fast because I'm very familiar. But then I find out, actually he want from 0 to 180 what? Means he only want from 0 to 180, he only want this part. Means he only want this part. 0, this is 0, 0 to 180. Means he do not want 180 to 360. So I'm going to find something look similar. Okay, this one look very familiar. But then this one is for 1 to -1. What? This one for -1 to 1. Actually, this one is correct if he says about y equal to negative cos x. Okay, this one I will explain in next video what's the meaning of negative. So you haven't learned about negative, so don't choose this one because he should from 1 to -1. And then yes, obviously this one, the shape look exactly the same. Then double check the angle. Is it 1? Is it -1? And then is it 90 to 180? 90, 180, exactly the same. So obviously this one is the answer. Of course, in here I want to check about C and D. Okay, for C, the shape is exactly the correct. But then this is not 0 to 360. 0 to 180 only, so this is wrong. If this is 360 and middle one is 180, then this one will be correct, but then this is wrong. And then obviously this one, this is wrong also. This is a sine graph, sorry. This is, if this is y equal to sine angle, then 180 and 360 is correct. But cos graph should look like this one, so it's wrong. So this one is called y equal to negative sine angle. If got negative and then this is 180, this is 360, then it's correct. Okay, so maybe in the next video I will talk about what's in negative. So just memorize sine graph, cos graph. Okay, sine graph and cos graph. Remember it all the time. Let me show you sine graph and cos graph one more time. Okay, sine is something like S. Okay, S. And cos is something like U. Okay, you do it. So, or you use your own way to memorize it, but as long as you can memorize it anyway. Okay, cos is always start from 1. Sine is always start from 0. Okay, so yeah, that's all for this video. Hope you can fully understand about this video. Thanks for watching.